Debbie Marcoux is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS ID 237926. Also licensed in Arizona 0941504, Florida L076508, Georgia 69178, Idaho MLO 208023796, Illinois 031.0058339, Missouri, North Carolina I210940, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington MLO 237926.
She's the mortgage mom. She can get things done when you're in need and don't know where to go. Pick up the phone and call mom.
All right, so welcome to Mortgage Mom Radio. I am Debbie Marcoux. I am the Mortgage Mom. And today we are going to be talking about housing predictions for 2024. Can you believe it? Thanksgiving has come, it is gone, and we are moving right into the holiday season, and then it's 2024. I mean, we have like 32 days left. And if you're listening to me on Go Country on Saturday morning, you've got less than 30 days left for the new year. And so what is going to happen next year? We are going to talk all about that right here on Mortgage Mom Radio today. What are the experts calling for next year? Are you somebody that's been on the fence? You've been waiting to buy a home. You feel like you've been priced out. Are home prices going to come down in 2024? Are we going to see things get a little bit better for you? Are interest rates going to come down? Is it going to be a buyer's market? Is it going to be a seller's market? Well, we are going to hit all of those topics right here on Mortgage Mom Radio today. So if you have questions, please put them into the feed. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're watching. I want this to be an interactive show, and I want you to be part of it with me. So stay tuned. We're going to take a super quick break, and when we come back, we're going to jump right into those options. Are you a homeowner and you're equity rich, you're cash poor, and you're deep in debt? Well, follow along. You guys have to like my channel. I'm going to talk all about home equity loans this month and home equity lines of credit. Who are they good for? What are they good for? Why are they good? Let's talk. Follow my page. Equity rich, cash poor, and deep in debt. Follow along. I'm Debbie Marcoux. This is Mortgage Mom Radio. All right, so welcome back to Mortgage Mom Radio. I'm Debbie Marcoux. I am the Mortgage Mom, and we are going to be talking all about housing predictions for 2024. What is going on? What is going to happen? I want to quickly say hi to Heidi. So she jumps on and says, hi, all. And my dad jumped in with a pink waving hand. So Dad, thanks so much for joining. As I always say, you are my biggest fan, and I love that. So I actually pulled up a couple of articles, and I love articles because I'm giving you guys the information that I'm reading, so you can actually decipher the information just the same way as I would. Does what they're saying make sense? Do you agree with them? And that's what this show is all about. It's about keeping you in the know, keeping relative information coming to you, updated information, updated articles. And so that is what we're going to do today. And I actually pulled two different articles, and so we're going to compare them today. One is from Housing Wire and the other is from Bankrate. And these are both very, very reputable places to go for information. So I think that these are great articles for us to take a look at to figure out what are we expecting next year. And then obviously I'm going to give you the Mortgage Mom take on what do I think, right? So Nicholas jumps in and gives me the clapping hands. Josie gets on and says, hi, Debbie and team. And then Nora gets on and says, hi, everyone. Happy holidays. So thank you guys so much for joining. And I do want to tell you, this is interactive. So please don't hesitate. Put those questions into the feed. I'm going to answer them for you. I'll read the question out loud. So I want you guys to get interactive with me. I love it when you do. That means I'm bringing you the information that the consumer, that the listener wants to know. So please don't hesitate. And for many of you that are listening on Saturday morning to Go Country 105, I love you guys. I have been on this station for a very long time. I love that you guys listen to me. But if you want to get interactive, you want to ask those questions, you got to do it with me live. So how do you know that I went live? Well, you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would be something simple. But what I find is that I don't get a lot of the notifications on the channels that I subscribe to. So I I don't want you to miss any of the shows. So how do you know for sure that I went live so that you can jump in and you can join? Well, you want to text the word mom to 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. Just the word mom. It's going to opt you in to get one text message a week when I do go live. Now, that is the same phone number to call my office as well. So if you guys have questions, you want to get pre-qualified, you want to work on a reverse mortgage, you need a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan, or you need to cash out, you want to do home improvements, renovation financing, whatever it is that you guys are looking for, same exact phone number to contact our office. Give us a call and we will help you get pointed in the right direction, get that application started, and get you moving forward. Bill jumps on and says, hi, you have a good day. Thank you so much, Bill. Sure do appreciate that you've joined and that you're watching the show. I love it. All right, so let's jump right in. I'm going to read to you guys what Housing Wire says, okay? And this is their most recent article that they talk about their home predictions for 2024. So it says, going more in depth than a Fed meeting, our virtual housing market update event provides you with the strategy building insights needed to operate in 2024. It's a savagely unhealthy housing market out there, and these economists unpack what that means for you. So they jump right in and they say, in a typical year, there are about 5.2 million sales of existing homes nationally, and home prices rise by about 4% year over year. But it's been a long time since we've seen typical. The number of home sales in 2023 will likely be at its lowest level since 2010. And while sales activity will pick up in 2024, transactions will still be below average. There is a lot of uncertainty in the economy and the housing market, but there are at least a few things we can count on. Mortgage rates, which reached a more than 2-decade high in the fourth quarter of 2023, will begin to come down in 2024, but they are not coming down to pandemic levels. We are in a new era for mortgage rates where prospective homebuyers should expect rates to settle between 6% and 6.5% next year. Consumers will reset their expectations, and as rates move lower, there will be more home buyers and more sellers in the market. Predicting where home prices are going will become a game of which came first, the chicken or the egg. If sellers are enticed into the market before first-time buyers get back in, we could see home prices dip early in 24. At a national level, if there are price drops, they will be modest and short-lived simply because inventory will still be very low by historic standards. The markets with the greatest risks of price corrections are the country's least affordable, including many major coastal markets. If buyers come back to the market before sellers, we are in for a competitive market with prices rising. Prospective first-time buyers may continue to sit out the for-sale market in early 24 as there are more deals in the rental market. Record levels of new apartment construction have led to rent declines and concessions, making it more attractive to rent than buy in some places. However, the desire for homeownership is very strong. The underlying demographic fundamentals indicate strong demand and low inventory in 2024 as through the rest of the decade. Through the rest of the decade, you guys, listen to that. I mean, we're talking about all the way to 2030. Can't even imagine. The oldest millennials are now in their early 40s, but the age of a first-time home buyer, 36, is the highest on record, and homeownership rates for this cohort are significantly lower than for prior generations. If millennials were homeowners at the same rate that Gen Xers or young boomers were at the same age, there would be 740,000 more homeowners in the U.S. That is a significant amount of pent-up demand, some of which is waiting for a drop in rates and more inventory in 2024. While inventory will increase somewhat next year, supply will still be low, largely due to the other big demographic cohort affecting the market: boomers. Boomers are staying in their homes longer. Sub 3% mortgage rates and a lack of homes to downsize into have also contributed to the slower pace of listing activity. These demographic factors are the primary reason home prices will remain firm and will grow in most markets in 2024. There are potential wildcards to consider. Another strain of the coronavirus is always a threat lurking off in the corner. God, we hope not. Geopolitical risks and economic recession could amplify consumer anxiety and lead to less home buying and selling activity. And while presidential elections do not tend to have an outsized impact on the housing market in most cycles, it could be a different story this year if there is further deterioration in the political landscape. And that's where Housing Wire left it. So they didn't really give you their opinion, but what they did say is if the first-time buyers come to market first before the sellers finally get sick of waiting to sell their home, then we could see prices actually go up further and get more aggressive and make it more difficult to get into a home. If we see sellers come out of the woodworks first because they're just tired of waiting, they're ready to move, they're ready to downsize, they're ready to do whatever it is that they have been holding off doing, then we could actually see more inventory, more supply, which could give us a quick dip in 24, but not a substantial dip and nothing that is going to last very long. So it's going to be a very, very small pocket, a very small window that you might get the opportunity to have more inventory to choose from and a little bit more as a buyer as far as negotiation. But that again is if sellers can give before the buyers can't wait any longer, right? So they didn't really give their opinion on it, which is why I went on to the next article and I pulled up what Bankrate thought. I think they get a little bit more detailed and get into more of the guts of what is going to happen in 24. So I do want to read that article to you as well. But I want to also say that my Aunt Lori jumps on and she says hi. Brooke gets on and says, "Hi, Debbie. Best advice for young new home buyers trying to purchase in 2024. And then she has in there for SoCal, so for Southern California. So Brooke, the best advice that I can honestly give to you is that as soon as interest rates start to come down, which we're going to jump into in this Bankrate article that they wrote, okay? And it's Bankrate's article. You guys can find it. It was written November the 14th or 15th. I'm going off memory. I don't have it in front of me. But it was the 14th or 15th, so week ago, 2 weeks ago. But it is actually called Housing Market Predictions 2024. So if you guys want to pull that up and you want to read that article yourself, you're more than welcome to. But they get a little bit deeper into the guts of why they think where things are going. And from what I'm taking from that, just kind of the really fast short version is that it looks like interest rates are going to start to come down, which is going to drive more buyers to market because homes are going to be a little bit more affordable. Housing inventory is still very low and things are going to start to get busier. Now, we don't have enough inventory to reach pre-pandemic levels of what is typical or what is normal as far as the amount of transactions that are happening within the United States, but we are going to see more transactions in 24 than we did in 23, and it's going to get a little bit more competitive. So we're going to dive into that article. So the best advice that I can give you to your question that you asked is, if you want to buy in 2024, be prepared, be ready, have your pre-approval done, know where the numbers are at today. Make sure that you stay very, very close and tight with your loan officer. Keep a beat on the market as far as where interest rates, because you're going to want to try to, get aggressive the minute that you're ready. You don't want to find a home first, then start that pre-approval process, not know what you can qualify for. Maybe the last time that you spoke with us was in 2022. We have a ton of people that all of a sudden within the last 30 days have been reaching out to us like, "I'm sorry, I haven't talked to you in a year, but I'm ready." And then we're pulling up that pre-approval that we did a year ago, and the interest rate is not even close for those numbers that we ran at that point in time to where things are today. So I would definitely suggest that you jump in, you get started, you get that pre-approval rolling, you get all of your documents in fresh, be ready to strike when the iron is hot, be ready to go as soon as you find that home that you like, be prepared and be ready. So that would really be my biggest piece of advice, is just being ready. Know what you need to know. Know how much cash that you're going to need, available for you to close. Know what those monthly payments are that you should be anticipating. Have an idea, not have an idea, but know what that sales price range is that you can qualify for, and have that conversation with your loan officer as well. Know that today at an interest rate of 7.5%, for example, you qualify for $500,000, and at an interest rate of 6.5%, that you qualify for X amount of dollars, right? So you want to know where you're going to qualify based on where interest rates go, because obviously as the interest rates come down, then you're going to be able to qualify for a little bit more house. So just knowing education is so important, and knowing your personal scenario and exactly what you have available for you, and being ready to go, because things are going to get I personally believe that by the middle of 24 that we are going to be very, very busy again. A lot of people trying to buy. More home sellers are going to come to market because they're going to see an interest rate that's going to be in that 6% range, and they're going to feel that, the 8% is where we've been here recently. We just finally got a really nice rate drop. We're back down into the mid sevens, even low sevens. Some of our loans, really, really low sevens, 7 1/8, 7 1/4. So these, we were at 8. So imagine when we get to 6, there's going to be more sellers that are going to be willing to sell their home, get rid of that loan that they have, and go to a little bit higher interest rate, but a more palatable interest rate than 8%. So I do think that by mid 2024, it's going to get pretty busy, which is going to make it a lot more difficult to negotiate, get an offer accepted. And it is 100% going to be a seller's market at that point. So just get yourself ready, get prepared, and do it right now. Because honestly, we all know we just paid taxes, and it's almost January, and it's going to be tax time again. It goes so fast. The time flies. And so be ready, be prepared, and get started early. So I hope that answered the question, and I'm sorry if I dragged it out too long for you. But keep these questions coming, guys. I absolutely love them. That is what this is for. That is why I do this show. I want to make sure that I'm getting the questions answered that you guys want to hear. So keep them coming. I absolutely love it. Michael jumped in too and says, hello, everyone. So Michael, thank you so much for joining. I love seeing your name up there. You seem to join all of the shows, and it sure does make me smile. So thank you so much. All right. So with that, I do want to get into the Bankrate article. I think there's a lot of really good guts of information in that article. So I do want to read it to you guys. And then we're going to talk again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Are we looking at a seller's market? Do we think home prices are going to fall? It's all the stuff that they get a lot more detailed and deep in that Bankrate article. So we're going to go to quick commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Who can benefit from a home equity loan? Okay, well, let's talk about this. Who are you? Who are the people that are going to benefit? All right. Are you a homeowner? Number one, check mark. Do you have equity in your property? Chances are you probably do. Many people have seen appreciation that has been uncomparable to previous years and times and decades. So many homeowners are sitting on a lot of equity at the moment. Now, do you have debt? Do you have debt that you need to pay off, but you're cash poor? You don't have the cash to get rid of those credit cards, those student loans, those car payments, anything that you might be in debt over, personal loans. If you have that debt and you need to try to figure out how to get it paid off, and you've got that equity in your home, you would be a perfect candidate to be looking into home equity loans. Home equity loans, when blended with your current first mortgage low interest rate that nobody wants to touch, are a great option. So what do? Call my office. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out what your best rate is, and if it makes sense for this to be something that could get you out of debt and feeling better and getting those monthly payments and that monthly cash flow in place. Give us a call. It's mortgagemomradio.com. All right, so welcome back to Mortgage Mom Radio. I'm Debbie Marcoux. I am the Mortgage Mom, and today we are talking housing predictions for 2024. I do want to remind everybody we're not going to stop the show even though I get to the 30-minute mark, but for my Go Country 105 listeners on Saturday morning, I have to cut the show early so that I can get that sound to radio, and then they're listening a couple of days. So we record on Wednesday, they're listening to the show on Saturday. So when I get to that part, I've got about 10 minutes to go. You're going to hear me close it out, but don't go anywhere. Stay right here because we'll keep going until everybody gets the information that they need and we finish the topic for the day. So right before break, I did promise that I was going to read you guys the article from Bankrate. I think it is really a great article with some really good depth information that I think that we can then come to the conclusion of what we think is going to happen in 2024. So let's keep going. So it says, housing market predictions for 2024. And again, Bankrate. I'm giving Bankrate.com total, kudos for writing this. This is their content, not mine, 100% giving them the credit for this. So it says, what will happen to the housing market in 2024? Rates roughly doubled in 2022, thanks in part to the Federal Reserve's war on inflation, and have stayed high since. While the Fed does not directly set mortgage rates, mortgage lenders take cues from them, and mortgage rates climbed in tandem with the Fed's long string of rate hikes. Will housing sales decline? So while home prices have certainly held firm this year, the volume of home sales has softened considerably. Existing home sales in September of 2023 declined to an annual pace of 3.96 million, according to NAR data, which represents a 15.4% drop year over year. So before I keep going, I do want to make sure that that's very clear. They're not talking about home values dropping. They're talking about the actual number of units of homes that have sold and closed, the actual sale itself. So we're down as far as the amount of sales. Home prices have remained elevated. So it says, however, these trends may pivot in 2024 if mortgage rates dip. Well, we heard Housing Wire say they think they're going to come down, and Mortgage Mom thinks that they're going to come down as well. So let's keep going. Just keep that in mind. Little thing to keep in the back of your head. All right. So retreating mortgage rates will bring more buyers and sellers to the market and get Americans moving again, says NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, chief economist Lawrence Yun. At a NAR conference in November, Yun predicted that sales will rise by as much as 15% next year. So in 2024, we really could possibly we dropped 15.4. So we're going to get back to somewhat more decent levels of the amount of transactions that should be taking place. Housing sales are expected to increase a bit from this year, says Chen Zhao, who leads the economics team at Redfin. However, she qualifies, we are not expecting sales to increase dramatically as rates are likely to remain above 6%. So again, in the Housing Wire article, they said they think that interest rates are going to be in that 6.5% range. And basically in this article, they're agreeing with that, which means interest rates, I think in 24, we're going to start to see come down a bit. Lowered mortgage rates they can't say could, it has to say would. Lower mortgage rates would help spur home sales activity, which are expected to increase in 24 compared to 23, says Selma Hepp, chief economist at CoreLogic. Declines in mortgage rates will drive more sellers to trade their existing home and help add much needed inventory to the market, leading to more transactions. So the next part of the article is, will housing inventory increase? Well, I think we all kind of know where that's going, right? Speaking of much needed inventory, housing supply has been very low throughout 2023 thus far. The overall number of existing homes on the market for sale as of September sat at 1.13 million units, an 8.1% decline since last year. That figure represents only a 3.4 month supply, far short of the 5 to 6 months usually needed for a balanced market. There are simply not enough homes for sale. Lawrence Yun, chief economist at National Association of Realtors, says the market can easily absorb a doubling of inventory. So even if we see a lot of sellers finally come back and say, okay, it's time to put the home on the market because once I sell, I got to go get myself another mortgage. And I'm willing to trade in my 3% to 6%, but I wasn't willing to trade my 3% to 8%. So as that happens, we are going to see more homes come to market. We're going to see more inventory, making it a little bit easier for home buyers to actually find a home. But we're still not going to be at the levels that we really need to be for a balanced market. And what does balanced market mean? A balanced market means it's not a seller's market, it's not a buyer's market, it's a level playing field. So that's what they mean when they say that. For inventory levels to improve significantly, there would need to be either a surge of homeowners listing their existing properties or a huge amount of new construction homes hitting the market. While both seem relatively unlikely, Yoon does foresee some increase in housing inventory for 24. There will be more home construction and more existing homeowners will be willing to sell and give up their low mortgage rates. So will home prices go down is the next part of the article. Housing prices have been on fire lately, culminating in historic highs. September's median of $394,300 was only $20,000 short of the highest monthly home price NAR has ever recorded. So will home prices drop in 24? Probably not, says Yoon. Home prices will rise around 3 to 4%, he predicts. So he's predicting that appreciation in home values in the year of 24. Prices are intricately connected with housing inventory as well, notes Zhao. Sellers are likely to remain reluctant to give up their low interest rate for a much higher one, so inventory will remain constrained, she says. As more time passes, more homeowners may be forced to sell due to life events, so inventory may rise from the current anemic levels, but it's unlikely to increase much. That means that prices are unlikely to fall on a year-over-year basis unless demand falters. So we're going to see home prices come down in 24. Again, Housing Wire says only if the sellers decide to all come out at the exact same time and put their homes on the market and we have an abundance of inventory. That's probably not going to happen because they're all waiting for interest rates to come down before they trade in that low interest rate they have today for a new interest rate, and it needs to be a palatable interest rate, right? So that's probably not going to be the scenario. Is it an option? Could it happen? Yes. And if it does happen, Housing Wire says we're going to see a small little pocket, a small little window at the beginning of 24 where home values might come down, but it's going to be very short-lived and it's not going to be a whole dramatic amount of depreciation. So keep that in mind. Like Brooke asked me earlier in the show, what is my suggestion? My suggestion is get off your rocker, get on the ball, get it all started, get yourself pre-approved and be ready to strike when the iron is hot because it's here. We're going to see these interest rates, I believe, start to come down by mid 2024, and they slowly get there, right? So we're going to get into more palatable interest rates, and then they're going to keep kind of slowly elevating down, which is fantastic. So we're going to start to see volume and increase in sales start to pick up next year. Exciting. Very, very exciting. Now, for those of you that are listening to me on Go Country 105, I want to end the show here and say, if you want to continue to listen to the show, you want to watch the rest of the episode, you got to go over to my YouTube channel. You can see it there. It's the most recent live show that I did. And why not just follow along, jump into YouTube when I'm live. So text the word mom to 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend For You. WELEND and the number 4. Text the word mom. You'll get a text from me once a week letting you know that I'm live. You can click on the link, takes you straight to the YouTube channel, and you can get in and be watching us do the show, ask your questions, getting interactive. We absolutely love it, and we'd love for you to do that. If you want to get yourself pre-approved, if you have questions about doing a refinance, if you've got a bunch of debt you need to get consolidated, if you've thought about a reverse mortgage, whatever that your lending needs are, give us a call. Same exact phone number. That's how you get our office. It's 844-935-3634. That's 844. We lend for you. WELEND and the number 4. Or head on over to our website. Go to mortgagemomradio.com. Okay, so let's keep going. I can see that during my closing for Go Country, I saw Aurelio jumps in and says, "Hi, Debbie." Aurelio, we miss you so much. Let me just tell everybody that is listening to this show right now that if you need a contractor somewhere in the Southern California area, he is in Valencia, Santa Clarita. He can go to the Valley. Aurelio is amazing. He remodeled 2 of my homes, 1 of my mom's homes. He did some work at my sister's house. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous work. So Aurelio, we miss you. We love you. Wish I had a job for you. All right, so let's keep going. So it says, will 2024 be a buyer's or seller's market? And so this is something that a lot of you guys want to know, right? Especially if you're a buyer, you're a first-time buyer, you've been trying to wait for rates to come down, you've been hoping that prices were going to come down. The sellers seem to get everything that they want for you to just be able to get your offer accepted. It is a seller's market right now because inventory is low. There's not enough homes for sale. And so really when that really nice property comes on the market, and really nice means it's in the right price range for numerous people, or it's a great price because it's been fully remodeled and somebody else doesn't, you don't have to walk in there and do it yourself. For whatever the reason, there's particular properties that will jump out that will just be fabulous homes, and they will sell, and the seller will get everything that they want. So, you as a first-time buyer hoping to not be in that situation, to be able to maybe have home prices are coming down, interest rates are getting a little bit better, maybe have a little bit more negotiating power. That needs to be a buyer's market, right? So will 2024 be a buyer's or a seller's market? So that's the question that Bankrate's going to talk about. So it says, in today's market, tight inventory gives sellers the upper hand. There are more buyers than there are homes available. So each home that comes on the market becomes more of a hot commodity than it might if there were more options to choose from. Without a significant uptick in inventory, the seller's market seems unlikely to change next year. So it's probably going to remain a seller's market. Again, assuming that Housing Wire's take on it of, are we going to see the sellers come to market before the buyers is probably not realistic. It could happen. And for all of you that have been sitting on the fence and waiting, I hope for your sake that it does happen, but it's probably not going to happen. So it's better to think about what can I do right now with what we have available, with what is going on, with where the market is today, and how do I navigate this process right now in this market. So bottom line on the 24 housing market. So this is what Bankrate says, and then we're going to talk about if we agree with it. The combination of high mortgage rates, steep home prices, and low inventory levels are lining up to make the 24 housing market a challenging one for both buyers and sellers. But if rates cool in 24, as some experts predict, then market activity should heat up in response. The complexities of the current conditions mean that now more than ever, it's smart to lean on the guidance of an experienced local real estate agent if you want to enter the market in 24. Whether as a buyer or a seller, let a pro lead the way for you. So one thing that I do want to say is I personally think from things that I've read, things that I've watched, doing my personal research, and again, nobody has a crystal ball. You have to take what you hear from this person, that article. You have to take it all and then go, what's my opinion on it, right? And again, it's a guess. It's my best guess. I have no crystal ball. I have no way to know what is happening inside of those federal meetings or inside of the Treasury, right? There's no way for me to know, but I can take from all of the gathered information that I've read up, that I've watched, that I've learned, that I've educated myself on, and then I can come to an educated opinion of what I think is going to happen. So I personally think that we are going to see interest rates start to come down again, like I mentioned earlier in the show, probably mid-ish 2024. I don't think we've already started to see interest rates come down. So I do want to throw that out there, like ring a bell. I hope you guys heard that. We went from interest rates that were honestly at one point in time, about 30 days ago, I was quoting interest rates that were in the 8.25% easily on many, many loan applications, many scenarios. We are now in the mid 7s. That is a huge drop very, very quickly. And with that, I just can't see that we're going to jump back up again. I don't have a crystal ball. Could it happen? Absolutely. But my opinion is that we are slowly starting to go down the elevator. I think we're going to see a very, very gradual, slow decline of mortgage interest rates. So it is something that I think that, if you've been on the fence, if you've been thinking about buying, just keep that in mind. I've been saying it for the last year that as soon as interest rates start to come down, there will be a buzz throughout the market. This person finds out and it's like a game of telephone. This guy finds out, hey, interest rates, oh my goodness, like they're in the low 7s, right? Wow. And then they tell their neighbor, and then their neighbor tells the neighbor, and then the neighbor tells the neighbor, right? And you start to get this buzz that happens. That's how this works. Then that's how things start to get, busy again, right? So if you've been on the fence, if you haven't purchased, if you haven't gotten pre-approved, if you have just been waiting, to try to see that things are going to happen, I wouldn't personally count on home values coming down. I wouldn't count on interest rates being lower immediately. But as soon as interest rates are lower, which I think we are closer than we are further, we're going to see that pick up in the market, which is going to start making it more difficult to get the home that you want, to negotiate on the property. So I would start getting yourself prepared right now. I would start getting yourself in, financial shape to do that purchase if that is your goal of 2024. And for those of you who have already bought in 2023 and you did end up securing a bit higher of an interest rate, I'd keep your thumb on the market. I'd know where interest rates are. I would follow along as often as you can to hear me talking about where interest rates are and how the general movement of those interest rates happens. I would make sure you're keeping your thumb on that market because there is going to be a really good time for you to start that refinance and to get that interest rate down and to lower and reduce those payments. If you have thought about downsizing, if you've thought about doing renovations to your home, if you need the cash to pay off the debt, right now is a really good time to reach out, find out where things are at. What might that look like? What would it look like if rates came down another percent, so that you know when it's time for you to get started, so that you can keep your ear open and you can keep listening. And when you hear a commercial or you hear me say something, then you might go, okay, that was the number that we needed to hit. It is time to pick up the phone and call. But if you're trying to purchase a home and you wait until everybody else is already out there and doing it, you're going to pay a higher price and you're going to have a really hard time getting an offer accepted. So that is my take on what is going to happen. I do believe that 2024 is going to be a significantly better year than 23. I think we're going to see more units sold. I think we're going to see more real estate transactions happen. I do think we're going to see interest rates get a little bit better, which is going to make things a little bit more affordable. I think we're going to see some of the boomers get the opportunity to maybe do the downsize or make the moves that they've been waiting for and they've been sitting and holding tight, for a better market. So I do think that 2024 is going to be better than 23. Do I think it's going to be fabulous? I think it's still going to be a little bit rough. I think it's going to still be slower than a typical, normal, average market. But I do see, oh my goodness, so much better happening, so much more in 2024 than what happened in 23. And then I think that we're going to see things just continue to improve, 25, 26. It's just going to keep getting better. So great time to enter the real estate market. Great time to get your affairs in order. And if you have any questions whatsoever, call me, call the mortgage mom, call my office. It's 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. We'll talk to you guys all real soon. I'll be back here again next Wednesday, right here, 1 o'clock Pacific time on YouTube. Talk to y'all real soon. Bye-bye.
Debbie Marcoux is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS ID 237926. Also licensed in Arizona 0941504, Florida L076508, Georgia 69178, Idaho MLO 208023796, Illinois 031.0058339, Missouri, North Carolina I210940, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington MLO 237926.
She's the mortgage mom. She can get things done when you're in need and don't know where to go. Pick up the phone and call mom.